Malaysia's budget 2016 will be tabled in the parliament on 23rd October. The Prime Minister and Finance Minister Dato Sri Najib Razak is expected to introduce a mix of reformist and populist measures. This is to balance the needs and expectations of the people and the business sector. I spoke to independent economist Lee Heng Guie about this.
I think the budget quality remains a challenge for the present government. Why? Because you look at the uncertain external environment and challenging domestic condition. I believe the budget will continue to be focused on fiscal prudence, but at the same time they also want to sustain the growth momentum. I believe the government will maintain the fiscal reduction roadmap, because if you move away from the fiscal consolidation, it may not go down with the global rating agency, okay? And I see the government does not have much fiscal flexibility to provide bigger stimulus should our luck turn against us or should the economy slow down significantly. And the proposed measure which I anticipate in this coming budget are aimed to call the strengthening the economic resilience. Okay, you try to sustain the private investments, in particular the domestic investment, and at the same time encourage more FDI. Okay, you also need to take care of the needy groups, so you need to strengthen the social safety nets and encouraging more innovation and also entrepreneurship. And last point is to raise the productivity. Okay, on operating expenditure, I think the thrust will still be very restrained. And I think measures like contain the recurring expenditure, such as the public sector employee wages, which is quite big, close to 29.4% of total OE. And then you have to look at the supply and services. You also have to look at the transfer and grants to the state bodies, which is also quite a big proportion. Other than the continuous subsidy rationalization within the whole total OE, maybe they should look into the right sizing of public sector employee. That would help to contain the wage bill. If you look at the employment, the wage bill, the emolument for the government, I think as of the 2015 budget is close to 65 billion ringgit. So it's about 29.4% of the total OE. Is a huge amount. So when you right sizing based on productivity, based on reward performance, over time you help to contain your wage bill. At the same time, you have effect on the pension. Because this budget is the first year of the 11 Malaysia Plan. 11 Malaysia Plan is the last lap of the Malaysia journey to become a high income status. So I think the first year of the DE, it could be quite big. I'm projecting about 48.5, maybe close to 49, that range. So I think the bulk of the spending will continue to go into socio-economic projects like education. They also support the commerce sector. At the same time, there will be continuing allocation to support ongoing essential infrastructure projects such as your LRT, your MRT, highways, roads, the ports upgrading. So these are the major sectors will benefit from the allocation of the. Don't forget, as the state of Sarawak and Sabah likely to get more fair share, given the state Sarawak is going to have their elections soon. So there are reasons for concern because of the revenue and expenditure pressure on this budget. First, on revenue, we are looking at growth for next year, maybe around 4 to 5%. And consumer spending will remain cautious. Looking at the second quarter numbers has fallen quite sharply. So this will impact on the GST collection. Okay, one. Second is the low oil price still remain a concern, even though the oil revenue contribution to the federal government has fallen from 40% in 2009 down to about 29% in 2014. I'm projecting growth for next year will be quite moderate, around the 1%. It's difficult to ascertain what sort of oil price average. I think I'm still looking between $50 to $60 per barrel. Your budget deficit for next year, I'm projecting about 3% of GDP. It's a slight reduction compared to this year target of minus 3.2. Assuming there's a shortfall in revenue or expenditure turn out to be higher than what they planned for, there could be supplementary budget along the way. If we can have a long run capital spending process in place, or what I call spending capping, or we set a ceiling for the expenditure every year. If the politicians knows that they are restrained for every year, we only set a certain percentage growth in the expenditure allocation. They will be compelled to do more prioritize what a project which is more in need, and they will try to minimize wastage and leakages. That helped. And we also want ministry and also the implementing agency to be more financial disciplined and to be more accountable in any spending.
According to Lee Heng Guie, whatever happens on October 23rd, the finance minister's job is not going to be an easy one in tabling the budget, as the challenge is to spend prudently as well as balance the needs of the people and the capital economy. Zunaira Saieed, The Star TV.